Bow down before my psycho power.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Patch 5.0 has been out for over a week now, and it's kind of fascinating because the reviews on it is mixed. And I think it's kind of funny because patch 5.0 tries to do everything that we've been asking for. Patch 5.0 attempts to flip the tier list to some degree, but also splice up the game and freshen it up because it's been so stale for so long. It's quite funny because I used to be so invested in Tekken, and I used to be so like, oh, do this and they need to buff this character and nerf this character, but all of that kind of stopped. Now what happened was the Japanese patch notes released, and 6 hours later the English patch notes was released. And it's kind of fascinating because over the course of those 6 hours, just everyone was on Twitter, on Reddit, just sharing little discoveries. And you have this tier list showing how each character was buffed and changed kind of on their own. The reason why I say flip the tier list is because when you look at the bottom, Lita, Fakamram, Leroy, Kunimitsu all got big nerfs. One thing that I will say that is wrong about this is Fang's placement. Fang, he got nerfed a little bit, and him, Akuma, and Zafina, those three characters are considered the best in the game now. But all the other pay-to-win DLC destroyed. And it's kind of funny because pay-to-win DLC has been this huge problem for so long. Fakamram, he's been ruining the game for like 3 years. Same with Leroy Smith. And then Lita and Kunimitsu, even though everyone swore up and down that these characters were balanced, they followed the same rules and the same guidelines as Fakamram and Leroy. When I saw the DLC finally getting nerfed, for me it was like too little too late. They already ruined the game for me, and now that they're kind of nerfed, it's like I don't really care anymore. You know, I would have appreciated this a year ago, 2 years ago, but it's just way too little. And I know there's some people criticizing the developers, like, you guys already made so much money off of the developers and you're finally deciding to nerf it after you raked in all that cash. One person, Eris, explained it as, imagine if you buy a 4K TV and then in 2 years that 4K TV is going to be a 1080p TV. That's how he described the DLC characters. Extremely top of the line on release, and then a few years later they're going to become worse. And I've kind of been trying to think of a way for the developers to fix this problem of having these characters dwindle over time, because I honestly think it's not fair to the people who buy it. It's not fair to the people who get destroyed by it. It's not fair to anyone. It's kind of baffling how, so you watch this trailer at Evo and it says wall tactic, right? And it says new tactic. You don't hear anything from the developers for a whole week, and then the new tactics finally comes. It's finally out, and for your character it's either going to be a huge nerf, it's going to be irrelevant, like it's going to be a move that you would never use at all, or you're one of those lucky souls who that new tactic is on a move that you can now abuse, you can now spam. Like Claudio, even though the run and attack may be difficult for most people online, you talk about 9 million players, they all will not be able to abuse that tactic. But the ones who can abuse Claudio's new tactic, Alyssa, Dragunov, Law, Yoshimitsu, there's some wall tactics in the game that's like broken. And in my opinion, I think it makes the game more spammable. It makes the game more unga bunga, if you will. I get what they tried to do with adding in that new tactic, but it just didn't hit the mark. One thing that I was thinking about, because I've been playing, you know, Tekken on live stream, and I've been going up against some of you guys, some subscribers, but also I've been playing ranked. I rarely see people using their new tactic. It's kind of fascinating because when they added wall bounce back in season 2 or whatever season it was, everyone was using a wall bounce. You want to get into a game and not see someone trying to use it. When they added new moves for the first time, you saw everyone spamming their new move. Basically what I'm saying is every single time the developers added a new move, a new mechanic, everyone used it. But with the wall tactics, it's strange. I literally will stand at the wall and do nothing just to see if they even know what their wall tactic is. And for some reason, people are just not using it. If anything, I was the player, the Yoshimitsu player, going around trying to wall trap everyone with unblockables and things like that. This whole update, the strangest thing to me was how people were not utilizing the new tactic. I have a tweet from Nee that kind of goes more in detail about it. Opinion on new tactic. It happens in two situations, when I was hit or blocked. The problem is that when blocked, the opponent is too advantageous, plus 12 to 20. Situation is too painful. Blocking becomes like something wrong. Better situation than after rage drive. It also creates an unbalance. Now, unbalance is something that I've been talking about for so long in Tekken. Risk versus reward. For the whole entire lifespan of Tekken 7, risk versus reward has been diminishing. You can spam these godlike launchers, but then if it's blocked, you won't really get punished. Unless it's a hell sweep or a snake edge. But other than that, have at it. Spam whatever attack you want. I was reading a news article the other day from like 2013 about Tekken, and it was talking about how Kazuya is one of the only characters who hit hard, and the developer was thinking about nerfing that guy to make it more fair. But at the same time, his hard hitting abilities is what make Kazuya Kazuya. Now in Tekken 7, everyone hits like Kazuya. Everyone has that damage output. And I kind of agree with Nee. When you're talking about the wall tactic specifically, it kind of makes it to where blocking is a bad thing. I can't remember what game it was, but one of those 2D fighters out there, it had a move where if you blocked it, you took damage. But if you got hit by it, you take no damage. And that's kind of the same thing with this. Yoshimitsu's wall tactic has a guaranteed follow-up. King, Kuma, so many characters have a guaranteed follow-up to their tactics, and it's all on block. It's fascinating how that works. And I like here how Nee says it's better than Rage Drive. Rage Drive is one of the special tools in the game, one of the most special. Better than a power crush, better than a wall bounce, a new tactic, and all of these things. Well, I should say it's supposed to be. But at the same time, the new tactic, it almost feels like it's the best thing in the game in a sense. I haven't really mastered it, but if you master the new tactic, you could get a lot of free damage. It's sort of similar to how Fakaram's guard break is. His guard break wall splats and you get a full combo. He used to. The second part of Nee's tweet says, so I think it's better to make wall crash when on hit. Some characters are forced into situations that are too advantageous. Some characters are useless. I think we need one more version patch. And that's kind of why I haven't seen people really using it, is because it actually is useless. Why would you wall tactic when you can wall bounce? Some characters have a godlike wall bounce. I've been asking for so long for Yoshimitsu to get a second wall bounce, but now this wall tactic kind of is bigger and better than both of those. Gerlanda says, I would prefer to have some characters have a powerful wall bounce, other a strong rage drive, other a strong wall crush. Not for everybody to be strong at everything. For me, it's fine. Wall crush on some characters is not good. They can compensate with other mechanics. Nee says, yes, I also pursue diversity, but I think a system that creates situations by force makes the game simple. And this is what I'm kind of seeing overall from the community. Simple, boring is the word. What you have to remember is this update has been a year in the making. And for the developers to do this, the minimal amount of changes that they did to each character, some characters got this update seemed like it was more about nerfs than it was about buffs or changes to other characters. Most characters just got a counter hit tool or one move change and then a tactic. That's pretty much it. And then for the new tactics to be so mediocre, you have people wanting more. You have people saying that the game is boring. You have a lot of people just throwing their hands up and say, I'm just gonna wait for Tekken 8. At the end of the day, when you wait a whole year to update the game, and then you show a trailer at EVO, people are gonna have high hopes on what you deliver, and this update just wasn't that. A lot of people are saying that this is their team B. Team A is working on Tekken 8, and I understand that, but at the same time, when you don't fix the game, when you ignore it for so long, when you finally come around to changing something, you're gonna have to step up. Another thing that I didn't talk about this whole video is the internet structure. This update was supposed to be the big one, but you can't even really enjoy it, experience it, because you still have all of the netcode issues that's been destroying the game for the past 2 years, 3 years. You have disconnections between the new consoles and old consoles. You have input delay on the new consoles. Blue screens, you have black screens, you have disconnection, you have lag, you have cheaters, you have all of these netcode things that was ignored. And yes, Harada added in a ping, a netcode indicator. He added in some indicators on the bottom left and right, depending on what side you play on. And that's all fine and dandy. But what's odd about Tekken is those indicators don't really matter if the internet is bad. It's basically indicators that tells you how badly the game is performing. It seems like they just threw that in there to try to get people to think they fixed something, but in reality they didn't, So overall, I think this update it's not horrible. Like, I appreciate what they did with the tactics. I agree that the tactics shouldn't be godlike for every character. I think that some characters should have a good one and a bad one. Just like with wall bounce. Yoshimitsu's wall bounce is not that good, but it's not that bad. So I think when you're talking about new tactics, characters should operate that same way. Not that good, not that bad. You would use something else instead. But at the same time, waiting a whole year for changes, for most of them to be nerfs, is too little too late. And also, doing an update like this without addressing the netcode is only going to frustrate people. So at the end of this video, I'm not upset, I'm not disappointed, because I've been stopped caring about the state of Tekken 7. I kind of understand that this is just how the game will be. The game has met its end, and this is one of those things that they've done just to carry us a little bit longer to Tekken 8. So I understand that, and I'm willing to just ignore everything that's done until then. So for this video, I just wanted to sort of share my ideas on what I think happened, what I think went wrong, what I think went right. And also, I would say some of these things will be fixed in Tekken 8. I don't think this will be a problem in the next game. They know what's wrong, and I feel like they are going to do everything in their power to fix that. That's it for this video. I just want to talk about this new update, patch 5.0, and sort of share my ideas on what went wrong and also what went right. But right is very few. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Check out some of the other content I made on the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.